gonna move on to a story that is true, Sam, man. That's Kodak Black. Now, we found out today via the press that Kodak Black has pled guilty to federal weapons charges. Now, CBS Miami and the Associated Press reported this earlier today. Now, they're saying that Kodak Black, Sam, man, could face anywhere up to 8 years in prison. Now, sentencing date is scheduled for just a short time from now, November the 13th. Kodak Black's lawyer did not leave a comment in response to this. And this is just one of the cases right now that Kodak is up for. It's looking like he could face up to 8 years. Sam, man, what do you think about Kodak, man? I know over the last few months you have been very vocal about this young man, but now it's looking like he may face up to 8 years in prison.
I've taken a lot of criticism for being, you know what I mean, on his side in certain situations, not condoning all of his behavior. I couldn't do all that, but chalking up to him being young, we don't know what kind of male role models he had in his life. Let's just kind of pump the brakes before we all just immediately demonize his brother and throw him in the trash, right? But I also said that when you look at a brother like that and you look at the charges, life will continue even if he does sit down for a while. And when you looked at the paper trail, what was starting to go on with him, it was beginning to get dangerous. And you didn't want to see anything happen to him. You didn't want to see, God forbid, him sitting in the box. You'd rather see him sitting in the cell than sitting in the box, because life goes on in the cell. He can get up out of there and continue life. I think that him pleading guilty and putting all his chips in the table when it comes to this other assault case he has going on, this real serious case, and maybe just look in the mirror and taking accountability for his actions. I don't know. I don't see him doing 8 or 10 years. I see him sitting down for a little while. Yeah. I see him while sitting down, it being good for him and him coming out and being a better rapper, being better out here in the community, and being a more mature man when he walks out of them gates, whatever he does, whatever the year they put on it. So maybe good for him. I'm never looking for a brother to go sit down, but maybe taking accountability for his action here and understanding what's going on. Yeah,
man. I mean, like, the T Grizzly situation, Nipsey, and, Chink Drugs, and, countless number of rappers that you can, name that have been, shot at or even murdered. The list keeps going up. And with that, you look at a guy like Kodak, who it seems like every other week is something, a new charge here, there, sexual assault, this, that. Again, I agree 100%. You don't want to say jail 100%, but it's like, if that kid, some people are going to have to come to that point in life and reflect and say, you know what, I have to slow down. And you don't want it to be a bullet slows you down, you know what I mean? Or a 25-year sentence. So, for some people, maybe it would take that sitting in that cell for 3 to 5 or something like that and saying, damn, look what I just messed up over some petty dumb shit like this, gun application type shit, messing around with a chick, all this dumb shit, getting caught up in all this stuff. I mean, you're missing out. When you talk about the time you sit 3 to 5 years, you're probably missing $25 to $100 million you could have made on the street if you would have just slowed down. You can have the fun, you can have the women, you can drink, you can smoke, you do whatever the hell you want to do, but you got to stay out of trouble. And somebody like Kodak, I think that maybe, not he's obviously been in and out of prison, but I think that if he finds himself, hopefully, and slows down in that process somewhere, hopefully now, that he could definitely turn this thing around. That's what ultimately, what we want to see out of young brothers, man. Period.
We talk about a lot of brothers who get institutionalized and they can't get out of that system. They get wrapped up in it, but we don't talk about enough the brothers that do get out and do learn something from it. Now, you having just a personal relationship with that situation would speak on the effect and what it did for you dealing with what you had to deal with and then getting out, and how it changed you as a man and making you a better person. Does it work for some people?
It could. It definitely could, because even people that I've known that got out, you know what I mean, that have done significant, 5 years, they get to a point where, I just recently, a friend of mine, I seen him, I think probably did like 7 and came out. He was like, man, I got it now. So he told me, like, I get it. You know what I mean? I'm going to school now, whatever that is for you. It may be school shit. He may, find something to be doing something else next year, but you got to start somewhere. So some people, they get it. It's like, all right, you know what? Instead of putting my energy into this dumb shit that I used to be doing, I'm gonna go full throttle in this shit until it pops. You might be a good speaker, So you're gonna get something going with that. You might be a good writer, you might be a good painter, so you're gonna start painting. Anything you could do, you know what I mean, to to really start producing some fruit. And we seen, they'll tell you like a lot of guys, become entrepreneurs and million and billionaires in their 40s. You know what I mean? So all those years, you know what I'm saying? Like you fucked up, but it's like, all right, now you finally matured and you got it. Oh shit, this is what I got to do. So it can happen. So never lose hope, man. Never lose hope. It's never too late.
It ain't never too late. And you still got a lot of life to live. So don't think that 40's too old or 50's too old. Now, fuck that. You got life to live. Take care of yourself. Do the right things. Do right by people. Stay in your lane and win and enjoy that fucking fruit of your labor, man. That's what it's all about. Kodak Black, we wish you the best, man. Hopefully you could find yourself doing as least amount of time as possible for this charge, and you can put all your energy into the other charge because you got a lot of shit going on.
How long do you see Kodak Black theoretically sitting in prison at this point? I mean, this just one case alone, he's looking at up to 8. So what do you see? Like, all right, how long do you see Kodak Black being in prison?
3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I agree.
3 or 4 years.
Right.
And I ain't no fucking expert. I'm not. Right. But based off of good behavior, his lawyers doing this thing, him shutting the fuck up, sitting down, doing the right thing up in there, they ain't gonna have him in there for that full term. They'll get him out on good behavior and he'll be out 3 or 4 years.
Right. And he's young. So he got plenty of life, plenty of career left.
He'll be 26, 27. Come on, ain't even 30 yet.
Right.
Put some money away, you'll be all right.
Yeah, man. So, that's the news on Kodak Black today. He did plead guilty to that charge. And once again, he can be facing up to 8 years. We'll keep you updated when sentencing date comes on November the 13th on that particular matter. You're tuned into the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast this evening, family, with your brother Old God and Sandman. Just a quick station identification break. I want everybody listening right now, if you're enjoying the content, you're enjoying the podcast, go ahead and hit that 5-star rating. We'll be remiss if you did not go ahead and hit that rating before we got out of here. Also, do not forget to subscribe. It's right on the screen. Go ahead and subscribe to the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast right now, Sam. And we ready to get it in though. Sam, man, JD sat down, I think it was V103 out in Atlanta, and finally gave her an interview. After the other day, we talked about Funk Master Flex pretty much coming out on record and saying JD told him that Jay-Z pretty much said, don't deal with the NFL. Then Jay-Z turned around and dealt with the NFL. JD responded.
Man, so after a week of everybody very supportive of Jay-Z, and you had a couple of people asking questions, but it was overwhelmingly support. 2 people in particular had some very interesting things to say. One was Irv Gotti, and one was JD, and that was coming on behalf of B. Cox and Funk Flex. Now, recently, I don't know if you see this, old Cox, and they've been busy, but Irv Gotti backtracked a little bit on his statements. He had to retract the statement and say, no, I'm with full support. If I would want nobody else in front of black culture and things for the culture than Jay-Z. I didn't, I was taken out of context, basically. Oh shit, okay, damn. And then it was JD. He said something today that was interesting. Now, Funk Flex said he had a conversation with JD. B. Cox was also on here. He backpedaled a little bit.
Wow.
Let's hear what JD had to say. I ain't gonna talk no more.
What was your morning like when you woke up to that whole, your man said that?
Just as you haven't heard me speak right now, right? I ain't say nothing while he was saying that, and that's exactly what happened with this. I didn't say anything, right? So, it's interesting how people just start taking Jermaine said. I never said anything, right? And it got to a point where it was like people was calling me TMZ, this person, that person, do an interview. And I'm like, nah, I'm not going to say anything because I didn't say nothing. So therefore, there's no need for me to say anything. And I thought that was going to go away, honestly. I thought me just not saying anything, it's media, it's press. It's going to do what it's going to do.
Right.
Then Brat called me yesterday. And said that they was doing a thing on Dish Nation, and she felt the way. And when it starts affecting people with inside your circle,
right?
Because you don't say nothing, you got to say something, right? And I feel like that's why I'm here. You reached out to me, I didn't,
Yeah, I texted her. I was like, do you even want to talk?
Right? So, long story short, Hove called me when he saw this clip. Right, and he called me and we talked about the clip. the reason I came up here today is to just make sure that I let everybody know he never told me don't do what I was doing.
Okay.
Right? And I think